3 IMF reviews were completed successfully. Restructuring of domestic, bilateral, and commercial debts has been almost completed. Inflation has been tame. The rupee appreciated for 2 consecutive years.
La Vivente Aurudo offers are back. Visit us at www.lavivente.lk.
The Asian Development Bank's Asian Development Outlook for April 2025 projects moderate economic growth for Sri Lanka, with GDP growth expected to reach 3.9% in 2025 and 3.4% in 2026. This follows a strong rebound of 5% in 2024 after a severe contraction of 9.6% over the previous 2 years.
The government and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka have taken bold steps in the recovery journey. 3 IMF reviews were completed successfully. Restructuring of domestic, bilateral, and commercial debts has been almost completed. Inflation has been tame. The rupee appreciated for 2 consecutive years. Foreign reserves have built up to over 3 months of imports, and the primary balance recording a surplus for the 2nd consecutive year. The severe contraction of GDP by a cumulative 9.6% in the past 2 years, or 2022 and 2023, turned into a remarkable growth of 5% in 2024. We believe the foundation for sustained economic growth has been built. Despite these achievements, the recovery remains fragile.
Dinuk De Silva, Senior Economics Assistant at the Sri Lanka Residence Mission ADB, discussed the inflation outlook for Sri Lanka.
Coming into Sri Lanka's case, we expect inflation to accelerate to 3.1 in 2025 and 4.5 in 2026. Although inflation has been negative for the first 3 months of this year, we expect it to return to positive levels in the near future. Key drivers would be an expected hike of electricity tariffs, improved credit, higher imports, wage increases, and expected rupee depreciation.
Lily Alexander, Senior Counter-Economist at the Sri Lanka Resident Mission ADB, addressed the impact of new US tariffs on Sri Lanka.
The US, as you know, announced that it will impose a minimum of 10% tariff on imports from trading partners. For economies running bilateral surpluses vis-à-vis the US, including Sri Lanka, a formula was used by the US. It was based on trading partners' bilateral surplus with and exports to the US, and that means that some will face tariff rates much higher than just the 10% announced for trading partners. And that you can see on this chart, which we present the tariff adjusted with exemptions and the tariff rate without exemptions. So developing Asian economies are among the hardest hit. Of the top 10 highest tariffs globally, 5 are in developing Asia. That's Cambodia, 49%, Laos PDR, 48%, Vietnam, 46%, Myanmar, 44%, and Sri Lanka, 44% as well. And this figure shows that the tariffs for all ADB developing member countries, including those who got just 10% tariff.
Lakshani Fernando, Senior Economics Officer at the Sri Lanka Residence Mission ADB, emphasized the potential challenges for Sri Lanka's export sector.
What we would expect is for buyers to look outside of Sri Lanka, given the 44% tariff, expecting it is fully implemented. And we would expect producers to look at countries outside with lower tariffs. And there are some significant ones like Mexico, quite close to the US, Brazil, and even India. We would expect a slowdown in export-oriented manufacturing sector driven by the lower production. And we would expect worsening investor confidence, and this would lead to potential lower foreign direct investments and, more significantly, lower capital expansions for the domestic factories that are currently operating in Sri Lanka. And what, at the end of the day, this would mean is that corporates would also look at how they could bring down their costs, resulting in probably a certain number of layoffs as well.